Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ryan Cabrera, and you are watching my episode of LipRoll with Valerie Morehouse.
Welcome to LipRoll. Hi, Ella.
Hi, I'm your co-host, Ella London.
And I'm your host, Valerie Morehouse, who apparently Ryan Cabrera just left and said that it sounded like a porn star's name, but I just thought that was hilarious.
I think that's great. You know, it's like your new line of business. If LipRoll doesn't work out.
Did I just tell you who the next person was going to be?
Yes, you
without
did.
Knowing that I did?
Without me asking you who they were. We have a format here.
Ryan Cabrera. Yes.
Ryan Cabrera. Absolutely. So I really like him, and he comes in, you know, he's got tattoo sleeves everywhere, and I loved it because, you know, me and my yellow sunshine, and so he's
it's like, a mark. It's definitely a choice.
So he was like, you know, I need to get the yellow submarine
next
to George on his sleeve.
Idea.
So yeah, we showed him right where it can go.
I love that. As long as you meet the guests and you always know there's something that you can relate to your yellow, you're good to go.
I'm good to go. I'm happy. But on to him. I'm excited for everyone to hear the What's in Your Mix segment that we just started, which is going to be super fun because his music, like what he loves, is so eclectic.
Right, super eclectic. But we've been seeing that for most of our artists, right?
Yes, I think his though is just very interesting from a young age all the way through to now.
Right,
I mean, it's just I'm like, my eyes just kept going, whoa, that's awesome.
Right, and then you know, we just want to thank you guys all for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. Please keep listening. We're on Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Yes, we are, and YouTube. And follow us on Instagram because we have a really cool account, LipRoll. .co. Boom. And let's take a listen.
Are we going?
We're going to go, and then we'll just start in. And
okay, cool.
It's really casual. It's just like a conversation.
I wrote Avril's last single,
right,
which just came out. So that record came out last week, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think it was last week.
So that was cool. Her record number one. So we were working on that, and then I've been making like a Ryan Cabrera and Friends record. So it's like it's gonna be me, and every song's gonna feature like a different kind of artist.
Yeah.
And then I had that charity thing we just did.
Yeah.
The living room show.
Nice.
So we did that for Avs Foundation.
Well, we appreciate having you here, and welcome to LipRoll,
and I have another charity festival coming up at the end of March, and then I got shows this weekend, and then we go to somewhere and then overseas and then come back and then go to the charity thing.
The life of an artist. That's what we were just talking about.
I'm trying to get off the road. I'm trying to do everything I can to just like get to be home and write songs and, you know, still make a record and play shows kind of when we want, which is kind of what we're doing this year.
Well, we're going to get into all of that. So welcome, Ryan Cabrera.
Thank you. Thank you. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, we are very excited to have you on LipRoll today, and
Am I allowed to take off my jacket?
You can do whatever you want. Yeah, this is a free-for-all. So now I can see. Oh, look at all the ink.
There you go.
We're almost sleeved on the left.
I'm almost sleeved.
Wow.
I need room for more friends, so I keep a couple room for like.
Do I see John Lennon with a hoodie on there?
There's John Lennon.
Oh, look at that.
There's my friend Evan.
Okay.
There's my buddy Ben. So I have like a lot of friends tattooed on me, so I keep a couple spots just in case. Like,
did you always have those when I saw you? Have you always, or did you get more?
The only new stuff would be tattoo roulette, which is on my legs.
Okay, and you've got your mom.
I have. Well, that's actually my gangster rap group, MOM.
Oh, never mind.
But
sorry, Mom.
when Debbie asks, that's definitely Mom. You don't see the dots.
Okay, so you're gonna have to put Debbie on there now for Mom.
That's my gangster rap
So
group.
for those of you that are watching it live, and you can see it on YouTube, you can all see what we're doing.
Are we live?
For the listeners,
cool.
We're going. We're
sweet.
We're in it. We're
I'm in. No
strap
cussing?
yourself in. It's gonna be.
I got a mouth of a sailor, so I gotta be
whatever
careful.
you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
you're free to be you, Ryan.
Okay, cool.
So I was just gonna say, for people who are just listening, I'm just admiring all of Ryan's ink on his arms.
I have a lot of tattoos. See, the thing with the legs though is that's the only ones like I don't like have that are like inspirations for me, because the arms are all like either people I love, like which would be my friends, or like artists I love.
Right.
And then the legs is specifically for tattoo roulette, which is where we're blindfolded, me and my buddy, then he picks mine and I pick his.
Is that a you thing, or is that a known thing? Is that just a Ryan Cabrera thing?
I did it like 9 years ago or something. I had just finished playing this show. There's a festival on the East Coast called Bamboozled.
Yeah.
And it was like this insane crowd of, you know, like 20 or 30,000 people, and I just got off stage, and everyone thinks like when we played, like I was drunk. It was like 5 at night, and my buddy was with me, one of my best friends, and I'm like, let's go get tattoos. He's like, what are you gonna get? And I was like, I don't know, why don't you pick mine and I'll pick yours.
Right.
And then, and I was like, let's just make it fun. Like, let's be blindfolded. You pick whatever me, and then I pick whatever you. And then we set a couple guidelines.
You gotta have the guidelines.
Yeah. The two guidelines are no religious, no tribal. So those are the only two things that you couldn't do in
But
Tattoo
what about
Roulette.
things that are really embarrassing? And...
So what happened was the one I kind of played the game a little different. He was like, he thought it'd be funny to get me this like Pegasus unicorn thing, which I was actually stoked about because I was like, that's
kind of cool,
that's
right?
a mythical creature. It's awesome. Heck yeah. Like unicorns and Pegasus are funny. And I got him something that I can't really say, but it was not,
it was not cool.
He was not happy.
Oh no!
He didn't talk to me for like 3 days.
Oh no!
He was legit mad because he was
but
going.
But he did sign up for.
He did sign up for. I think he
what
thought.
Did you call it?
I think he thought like when we were going into it, it was going to be a little bit different game.
Tattoo Roulette.
But he had like his family retreat like in that next weekend or something, and he's like, now I can't wear shorts because my grandparents are going. So we set an addendums. Now it's no religious, no tribal, and nothing that'll offend your grandmother.
Okay, I love that. But it is a funny story. I mean, you did get a funny story.
Great story.
So
great story.
I want to go back. I want to rewind here. So you grew up in Texas.
I did, yeah, in Dallas.
And tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up in like a tiny little town called Flower Mound, which at the time was like maybe population like 1,000 people.
Right.
Now, like going back, it's like grown and it's huge. It's this massive town. But so I grew up in like this little tiny town, not really playing music. You know, I always listen to music, but my parents, you know, my dad's from Colombia, South America, and my mom's from like upstate New Jersey, Connecticut area.
Right.
So I never really had like a house of music or anything like that. So I didn't grow up. People always ask like, was there music everywhere? Did you start playing guitar when you were like 11?
What were your influences? Yeah.
And I'm like, I was in fake bands. Like we told girls we were in bands, but like I didn't play anything and I didn't sing. And then when I was like 18, I was like, everyone was like, we want to come see your shows. And I'm like, well, I don't really play. Like that whole band was kind of fake. And so I got bored at my buddy's house and he had a guitar. And so I just started playing. Wow. So I would say like right around 17-ish.
And that's a late
18.
Start, kind of.
Yeah,
isn't
for that, especially if you've never played anything. I actually started with the drums first.
Right.
And then I just like saw a drum set at a buddy's house and I just started playing it and I could just play. You know, it just kind of became natural. I was like, oh, this is easy. I could play the drums.
Was there anybody ever in your family that was musical? Like
no,
extended
nobody.
family? Nobody that you could find?
And then nobody in my family was really, but I got into music. And then once I saw Dave Matthews play the guitar for the first time, that's when I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like I'm going to actually do it. And I just started studying him and his fingers and like, you know, the way he like did chords. So I kind of got like a backwards start at playing. Right. Because most people will learn like an A chord, and that's like this. It's three notes. A D chord would be, you know, like a normal D would be, or a G if, you know, people play music. When Dave Matthews plays like an A, it takes every finger you have, and it's the craziest inversion of what an A would be, or like, you know, a bar chord instead of like a normal chord. So then going back and like playing guitar after learning all Dave Matthews first, everything just came easy.
So you're self-taught?
Yeah.
So you've never taken any guitar classes?
I went to learn. I didn't take classes, but I went to learn like songs. I didn't know any songs. I realized all I knew was Dave Matthews. Mm-hmm. So I had a buddy of mine just kind of would teach me like Beatles songs and stuff like that. And then from him, I started to figure out how to like, you know, just play songs on my own.
So you didn't really, you know, kind of wipes out my first 4 questions for you because it was all like, what are your influences? And we ask everybody, but so you didn't really have anything until you were 17.
Because I listened to like, I started with like punk rock. You know, when I was in high school, it was all like punk bands. I was the kid with white out all over his backpack.
Yeah.
And like,
I knew those kids.
Really spiky bleached blonde hair, blue hair. I was that guy. And then I got into like really heavy rap music. Right. And then Dave Matthews came along, and that's when I was like, oh.
You went from rap to Dave Matthews.
Yeah, went from punk rock to hardcore rap like Master P, and Ghetto Boys to Dave Matthews, and then that's when I started to get into like the Beatles and Queen and you know, Dave Bowie and then eventually that turned into now, which is I'm like all like 1920s music. And
yeah, we just talked about that with an early artist that we had here, you know, diving into the classics. Yeah. Whatever you define as classics.
Well, so what's funny is when I go, you know, when we do like radio interviews and stations like, you know, who do you love? Are you loving the blah, blah, blah record? I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. When I get home, it's all like jazz or like French music or, you know, Chet Baker and Billie Holiday.
But
Etta
you
James,
have,
like all
but
that.
you, that's great though. But that you have to dive into those, you know, because I think a lot of the great bands that we have today, or we have had, are influenced by people like that, you
Of
know.
course.
So you have to dig a little deeper and dig a little further back.
Yeah. Well, that's
So-
it. You know, that to me like makes me happy. You know, like I hear those songs, and it doesn't even matter. You know, it's just that vibe and that era, and like
Right.
how they, you know, attack songs and delivery of songs. You know, for them, because you know there's a chase. Like for them, obviously, a lot of those artists didn't write their own music. You know, they
Right.
were singing other standards or other people's songs, but how they delivered the songs is what made them so amazing. And then there was the middle, you know, kind of 80s, 90s, or like 2000s, you know, people were more into like writing their own music. And
Right.
then now there's a lot of artists, but people don't even care if they write their own music. So it's like,
Right.
it's all about how you approach, you know, a lyric. And obviously with all these like singing shows,
Yeah.
there's 5 million amazing singers in the world. So it's like, what's going to set you apart? It's
Exactly.
like how you approach.
Well, the delivery is everything.
delivery is
And we
everything,
just
yeah.
talked about that. I just said to an earlier guest, you know, you have an artist and a performer, and you have people that just have a tremendous voice. That doesn't work anymore.
No.
You know, I had my friend Neil Jacobson, who now runs Geffen, say to me one time, he said, Valerie, you know, and this was an older analogy because it was years ago, but he said, I could have Heidi Klum walk into my office and look like Heidi Klum and sing like Beyonce. I can't do anything with her unless she's interesting and has material.
Right.
You know, has something to say. And this is when, you know, music started to change. But I do think it is the way that you approach a song. You have to have that magic.
Yeah, some people it's hard because you know a lot of people are like, how do you get that? It's like you can't teach that.
No.
Really. It's like it's something that you just kind of know. Like from being in the studio with a lot of, like I've been starting to work with a lot of newer artists, and you know writing for other people, and getting in those rooms with people, and it's I'm like, and I'll hear him in the booth, and I'm like, oh, how do I tell you? Like no. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to learn that, but it's like there's something in certain people. That's what
Right.
was cool watching. Did you watch that Elvis special?
I didn't, but my
There was
mom
like
did.
a recent Elvis special with
told
like
me about
all
it.
these new artists, and it's like it would go back to back. It'd be like Elvis, and then somebody like a newer artist, and then it'd be like
Right.
Elvis, and then it's like it just showed how special Elvis really
Yeah,
was.
really
it's like,
amazing.
There's a lot of artists today that have got nothing, you know, when they back to back.
How did you find your voice?
I didn't even want to be a singer. I kind of
And
got pushed
when, I
into
guess,
it.
yeah.
Well, so when I was, you know, started learning guitar, 18, 19, my brother, he was like, I'll play the drums, you play the guitar.
We'll make a
And-
band.
Yeah, we'll be in a band. And we were in a band, if
Right.
you want to call it that. We entered one competition. We played one show, and he made me sing because nobody else would do it. And he's like, just, you have to sing. I'm like, I can't sing. I was like, I didn't know how to sing.
Right.
And I never really wanted to be a singer at that
Right.
point. And then I kind of got shoved in the position, and then I just was like, "Oh man, this is kind of fun." I got some attention because we played this college show. I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll learn how to do that."
So did you just?
It wasn't very good, tell you that.
Well, you know, everybody's
Had
got
to
to start
grow into
somewhere.
it.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, whether you think you're good. I had a guy come in last week who's he's I have a lot of finance guys. There's something with math and music. These guys who've made millions, you know, hedge funds, but they all play and they want to be
Oh, yeah, of
musicians,
course.
and they're coming in later in life. He's 52 years old. He says, I just want to sing. I play and I write poetry. I'm a finance guy, but that's a whole different side
I
to
run
me.
into people like that all the time too.
Yeah, they're very interesting. And
I'm like,
he
you got plenty of time.
he played and sang something for me, and I was blown away at the way that he delivered. I said, how delivered the song and the message. I'm like, how could you have just started at 52? You know, and he was just,
He's got life experience.
He started
There's
crying,
life
you know, it was
experience in
so
there.
important to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You have life experience. So it can come anywhere at different
Oh,
times.
100%.
And so I love that, you know.
And so yeah, also like there'll be people come backstage and be like, you know, I wanted to start doing this, but you know, it's too late for me. Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about? It's
no,
like
it's never too late.
if you play or practice whatever it is, it's singing, guitar. Like people always say, look, I just don't have the talent. And I'm like, I feel like anybody could play an instrument if
Mm-hmm.
you just have like the time to do it. Like if you put apart like 15 to 20 minutes every single day,
Right.
Like don't sit there. You don't have to be, like Mayer and Zane, you know, who are obviously the next level insane
Right.
when it becomes their instruments, who probably spent like 5 hours a day, you know,
Yeah.
just studying, you know, the guitar. But if you just want to learn the instrument, just take 20 minutes every day, play a little bit, play for 20 minutes, and then, you know, get comfortable. And I think within a year or two, if you did that, like you could play any instrument.
I wish I could keep telling my students that advice about warming up. I'm like, it just takes 15 minutes.
Every
so
day.
different.
It's hard to get regimented to
it
actually do
is.
that. It's that. There's the difference. Like if you actually did it though,
You'd be
yeah,
really
your
good.
voice would be like a machine.
Yeah, you would be bionic.
It's an instrument too.
Exactly. And it's, they're muscles that we're dealing with. And I said this to
How
somebody.
determined are you?
Exactly. But, if you want to play an instrument, you're starting from bass, right? You have to start from bass, so guitar, piano. Singing, the problem with singers is that you can have a tone or you can carry a tune or have an okay pitch or, have nice pitch or whatever your talent is. And you're not starting from bass. So they're like, oh, I'll just throw it to the wall and see if it sticks until they get into trouble, until they start to tour.
Right.
I get this all the time where people come in and now they've got this hit song and now they've got to do not even a headliner. They've got to open for somebody and they're struggling with 5 to 6 songs, and I'm blowing my mind because they just thought they could do it.
Especially if you're new.
I said, just spend 15 minutes. It's so much harder for singers to do that because if you don't, if you don't do it, like you said, you're never going to become bionic.
Yeah.
So when did you move from Texas to LA and start that whole?
What God was that? That was 2001, about 18 years ago.
Wow.
So I did a show at the Hard Rock, like an acoustic show. Actually, that my voice teacher at the time put on. She has like a showcase of like her 40 artists or whatever she has, and everybody sings one song. And so I sang one song, and Joe Simpson, who's Jessica and Ashley's dad, was there at the show. And I was going to UTD at the time. I was in college for 3 months.
Right.
Did that show, and 2 days later, I was living in LA.
Wow. So Joe signed you.
So Joe, after the show, comes up to me. He's like,
I think I knew that.
So you're gonna come to LA, and you're gonna live with me and my family, and I'm gonna take you around, and we're gonna go get you a record deal. And I was like, my parents are out of town. I could do that. And they were like in New York or something at the time. When they got home, I was moved to LA. Wow. I had one bag. I didn't even bring a pair of shoes. I had a pair of sandals, which is like a funny later story. But I just grabbed my bag, and he bought me a ticket. And like 2 days later, I lived in LA. I moved to Encino with the Simpson family. And I was like, well, this is neat.
That's a nice way to get introduced to Los Angeles.
This is neat. Yeah, it wasn't too shabby.
You didn't have to scratch and claw your way too much. So that was nice.
So that's obviously after 2 years of playing everywhere I could.
Right.
So this was obviously before the internet or anything like that. So you couldn't put your videos online. So you actually had to go play shows.
I remember those
playing,
days. Yeah.
5 days a week, like anywhere I could. Like I played Mexican food restaurants in the corner, for nobody, and like empty bars in Austin, or I'd drive down to Little Rock.
Yeah.
Any show I could play kind of is what set me up for what was about to come, which was singing for record labels.
Well, you paid your dues in
that,
you paid a lot of dues.
Yeah, so many, thousands of shows to get to where, when you're singing in front of a record label at that time, it's like one dude behind a desk.
Right.
And luckily, like I was, experienced enough of just playing shows for nobody and being comfortable with that, or playing shows like that happen to be in front of a lot of people, that I was comfortable playing for these people, because like the first time I ever sang for a label, which I'll never forget, was this dude named Jason Flom, and he was at Lava Atlantic at the time in New York.
I was going to say that name sounds very familiar to me. I was just saying we had another interview and we were talking about past, and I spent 7 years in the music business. So I started at Maverick.
Oh, okay.
When Maverick was a record
I sang
label.
For Maverick.
Yeah, in the 90s. Yeah. So
okay.
It was Freddie DeMann and Madonna, Guy Oseary, Lionel Conway, who I love, and just some really amazing people. And I
sang in that building. Is that the building on Little Santa Monica right there?
Yeah, we were on where were we? On Beverly, I think, and then they moved to Civic Center. But it was Beverly.
Civic Center. That's where I sang.
It was Beverly for the first like 2 or 3 years, and then they moved.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting knowing a little bit about the business and inside the business, because it is very different.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
Well, I sang for him, and he wasn't even paying attention. He was just checking his emails, smoking a cigar. And I'm in the room like
pouring out your heart and soul.
Why am I here? Yeah, like I've been waiting, been working so hard to get here, and you're not even paying attention. So I went, and I was supposed to sing 3 songs. So I sang the first song. He's not even looking at me. He's checking his emails, doing his thing, and I'm like halfway through the second song, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. So I go to the hall, and I'm like, listen, so there's all, all the interns and all the girls out there, like, if anybody wants to come in here, he's not even paying attention, and I'm singing some songs. So if y'all can come in here and make this a little bit more fun. And so I had like 8 girls come in and like sit on the couch, a couple were on the floor, and I just sang for them.
That's genius.
And then I was like, I'm going to make the most out of this.
But you got his attention, right?
Oh yeah. After that, he was like, all right, who is this kid? And then he finally started, he's like, all right, I like you. I was like, well, you're not going to pay attention. I can get somebody that will.
Right.
And then, so that was like my introduction to like singing for this label. I was like, dude, this is
And it was just
terrifying.
you and a guitar.
It was just me and a guitar.
So that is terrifying.
And a pair of sandals.
And a pair of sandals.
And then Joe yelled at me. He's like, you can't wear sandals to meet with the president of a record label.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Now it's all bets are off, right? That was a while ago. Now it's
that was
changed.
2001 or 2002.
Yeah, you can be
and I
like
sang for every label
Ed Sheeran and go out in your, your board shorts and your, Birkenstocks. I don't know, and a burgundy shirt.
Like, all it takes is one person to set the mold and be like, when you say like you can't do that, be like, or you just do it and then you make your own rules and then it's like boom. So when they say like you can't make top 40 radio, it's all rhythmic now, and then Ed Sheeran has a song with just an acoustic guitar in his voice. It's like you gotta make your own rules, and that's what I would tell like kind of new artists who are like, well, you have to do it this way. It's like
there's
no do it your own.
There's no set way. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. With every artist we've had on LipRoll, is that there's no path. There's no set way. Everybody's got their own thing. How do you deal with what's your approach to songwriting?
Ooh. Now, well, it kind of depends if I'm writing, in other artists or just for myself.
Did you start out writing by yourself? Because it's changed a lot. It's like now you see a song and there's anywhere from 2 to 10 people that collaborated on it.
Or like 25.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Use one lyric from an old song.
Yeah. Wait, that was my word.
Yeah, exactly. So I started out just writing obviously on my own by myself. Then when I was out in New York, I met a couple people and I was a little like weirded out and like I don't really like talking about lyrics with somebody I don't know.
Right.
But
it's very vulnerable. That's something that we've tapped on with all my art. It's very personal.
You get to know each other pretty quickly, and I like to start each just chatting. Like whoever it is that you're working with, it's like, tell me about your life, and not like what you tell everyone else. Like what, tell me something I don't know, or tell you whatever, and then you just kind of chat everything, and then you go from there, and then a song forms, and I think it's important for it to be believable.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of old school.
Yeah.
Technically, does it really? No, because there's some real shitty lyrics on the radio that do really, really well. So it makes it hard to believe that people really do. But there is something sacred to me about the song being real and authentic and
I love that because you hear a lot of artists today, and I'm not gonna out anybody, but you do listen to it and say, yeah, he didn't write that. That's not coming from him. Yeah. I mean, or it just sounds a little bit too mature.
I guess I had to I had to change kind of my stubborn ways, at some point and be like, you know what, the song, a lot of my songs are for me, but more importantly, the song is for everybody else.
Right.
So as long as that song is, relating to whoever else out in the world and they love it, cool. Then, I'm happy about it. And I think that kind of matters more than what my stubborn way was. If you didn't write it, that's bullshit. It's like, but it's about the song and how the fans feel about it and how they, if that makes them happy or if it makes them sad, if it makes them feel a certain kind of way, then whoever wrote that song did their job right, and whoever's singing it did their job right.
Right.
So,
well, it's all about feeling it. It's about, like we said earlier, about presenting something where somebody has a feeling and emotion. It's not just getting up there and singing a song that's important to you. How can I tell my story to my fans or people that are watching and listening and have that impact them in some way?
Song,
How do you get inspired to write a song? Because I know I've referred to this many times, that we had Emily Warren on here a couple weeks ago, and she's such a put together young woman and a phenomenal songwriter. And I asked her that same thing. Like, I asked her about writer's block and all of that. And so I'm curious, my musicians that I know that write, what's your path and where do you find inspiration, and do you deal with those?
I think, I'm lucky in the fact that I get to meet a lot of people. So I get to hear a lot of stories. I also live in myself. Obviously, from having this job, you get to experience so much. Ups, a lot of downs, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. So you kind of go through everything. So every day is a new story, and meeting new people, and going through different experiences. Obviously, there's a lot to write about. Just got to tap into that. And I'm lucky enough to get to see so many things and be like, okay, you know what I observe? You're just kind of always observing as a writer, I think, and kind of try to tell maybe a story that somebody can't get out themselves, but they relate to, and they'll be like, oh my God, I feel that exact same thing. And that's just from going out and living.
Do you have any songwriting do's and don'ts?
No.
Right.
No.
Just sort of whatever comes.
Yeah.
And it has to come naturally.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm always curious too, because so many times I don't know a lot about the artist that I train because we're working.
Well, yeah,
I'm always working,
I don't know how
right?
You could.
I'm not a researcher, so people come in and I'm supposed to know somebody and I have no idea who they are, and they've got 2 million followers on Instagram.
That still blows my mind.
No.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens to me all the time too.
Yeah, so but I think it's better that way, and so I'm always discovering new things about my clients when now we're sitting down.
You're like, that's cool.
Yeah, having this discussion.
You did that?
I either look
that's
like
fun.
a total asshole and someone completely uninterested,
endearing.
or I remember.
Well, it's not that you don't care. It's just it's you're focused on what your job is, which is to help them do that, so then they can go out there and have their 4 million followers and make all those people happy.
The first time I meet somebody is when they walk in or know who they are, really, unless they're super Beyonce. I don't know much about them. It's meeting them for the first time. I actually have a funny story about that.
Well, it's good because then you don't have like a preconceived notion.
Not
of
at all. And
who
I
they are based
prefer
on
it that way.
What the internet portrays them to be.
Right. And I prefer it that way because that's how you have a real moment with somebody. So I don't know if I can. This was actually kind of funny, and I can tell you about it now because it's older. But when I came down for Avril, right? And we were at Conway Studios and we were putting something together, and she said, oh, this was back in the Chad days. And she had said, I want to introduce you, at the time, just my boyfriend. This is how long ago this was. I didn't know. I knew who Nickelback was, but I didn't know who he was. And he had cut his hair. And so I asked him if he was in the business, and it was really hilarious. And I think he gave me a look like, huh? But it was all fine. Yeah, exactly. I dabble a little bit. And then Avril later said to me, I'm sorry, I didn't set that up for you. And I said, it's totally fine. I'm sure he thought it was incredibly endearing. But I think I said something stupid like, I know that it's Nickelback, but you cut your hair, which he actually had. So I crawled my way out of the hole. But it's fun. It's fun because you have those little moments in life where you can't know everything and you can't know everybody, and I think it is better to just be authentic and feel like you're coming in and meeting them for the first time.
Yeah.
So when you write, do you have inspiration from other singers or things that you've seen recently, or do you still pull inspiration from contemporary artists?
I mean we're always learning. That's one thing that I've had to learn along my career is to try to always be absorbing and learning from everything.
Yeah.
New artists, old artists. I love going to watch shows, and there's a lot of new singers and artists that I'm just like, oh my God, you're incredible, and it's fun to watch, and I learn myself from them. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's fun. And then you
right now I'm obsessed with Pasek and Paul. Those two.
I don't know who that is.
Pasek and Paul, they wrote the Greatest Showman, Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course.
I watched anything on them, study when they wrote it, what were they doing when they wrote it, and those stories fascinate me. So
the new segment, we're going to just talk about mixes and Spotify, and I asked this to my artists before. What's on your playlist?
It's
what
either going to be.
What are you listening to?
Well, so the playlists that I actually listen to are either going to be a meditation playlist. So it's going
I
to be
love
all
that.
Calming, very chill. Even in my car, people are like, "What do you listen to in your car?" So that's usually meditation music. The 1920s are Chet Baker, Louis Armstrong,
right.
Any jazz artists, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Sam Cooke, Thelonious Monk.
All the
those,
greats.
Those would be my main.
I love that you're meditating and you're still doing that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because we met. How many years ago did we meet? It's been a minute.
So the Wake Up Beautiful record was probably, what are we in, 2019? Maybe 2016?
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, probably?
Probably at least.
Maybe
4
4
years
or 5.
ago.
When did we do that showcase?
I don't know.
So weird.
Time flies by so fast.
It makes me think I haven't put out, so that's why I'm so excited to be working on a new album finally, because since that EP, that was the only thing I put out in 11 years.
Wow.
So and that was 5 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I love to ask people what's on their list and what they're listening to on Spotify and who they're.
If it's like new stuff, I love like Walk the Moon. Sheeran obviously is incredible. I love Shawn Mendes, Ben Platt. What other newer stuff?
All these artists are getting these amazing plugs. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I love the new Panic at the Disco record. I think he's doing a great job.
I love Brendan.
Yeah,
I got to train him for Kinky Boots.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
and he's such a spectacular voice. The music in that is really hard.
Really good.
And he's got to sing a high E.
Was it Cyndi Lauper wrote that, right?
Cyndi Lauper wrote it. Yeah.
He's my God.
He's like, I've got to hit a high E in this thing, full voice.
But he's very Broadway, so that's like perfect for him. That's like right up his alley.
He is. I mean, incredible instrument on that guy. You know, he's just a beast. What's the last CD you bought?
CD I bought?
Yeah.
Head Above Water.
Oh, I love that.
Actually,
okay, Head Above Water.
That's the last record I bought.
Actually went in and purchased.
Oh, no, it's physical CD?
A physical CD.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I bought that on iTunes. Oh, a
because
physical CD.
we were talking a little bit
about...
I buy
records. Does that... I mean, records are actually the only physical thing I actually buy.
But those are becoming more vintage. We just had an interview earlier where we were talking about this. Like, what's the last CD you bought? Because they've become so obsolete. Everybody's downloading now.
I can't remember a CD I bought. Like
yeah,
an actual
it's been that long.
wouldn't even know where you would get one.
I've got to listen to the whole thing. I've just seen her snippets of it. Of Head Above Water.
Okay. Yeah. It's great.
So amazing. And have you been pretty instrumental in like helping her move along? For our listeners that don't know, we're talking about
friends for a long time.
About Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and we kind of both help motivate each other.
Yeah.
In all aspects of our lives. So, I mean, yeah, she, I respect her so much in her opinions, and I think she respects my opinions so much, and we kind of have used each other as backbones to just stay positive and doing great things, and it's been like a 4.5 year process for her making the record. So getting to watch that was really fun.
I was so touched to see that because I knew you separately, and I don't think, did you know each other when we met? Did you and Avril know each other? Or did you meet through different circles?
We met in like 2002, 2003.
Because I never linked the two of you, and then I saw you guys hanging out everywhere.
We've been friends for a long time.
You have, so you knew her before. She's a special girl.
We used to do like a lot of radio shows and stuff together, and then I was friends with her and Derek, and
I train Derek now.
Do you?
I do. I've been training Derek for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, Derek Whibley from Sum 41.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. He's always on the road. He's touring nonstop.
He tours nonstop.
Yeah.
I think Avril had sent him to me in the very beginning years ago because I trained Avril a lot for a few years. And then it's so nice to watch her bring some music back and to feel good.
And we still use your warm-ups.
Yeah, and I love that.
I heard your voice yesterday morning when she was warming up.
Yeah.
We were in the studio yesterday.
I love hearing that when people say, I haven't seen you in 4 years and I still use your warm-ups, or I still hear you every single day.
Yep.
But I loved, watching my clients and people that I know come together and support each other in that way.
It's a small community.
It's
a small community once everybody.
Yeah. And Zane as well, Carney, who I train.
Yep, I love Zane.
The Carneys and Reeve Carney, who's doing Hadestown now.
I heard, I want to see that so bad. I heard amazing things about it.
A lot of really, really good.
I'm a big Broadway dude. I love anything like that.
I didn't know that about you.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that come from?
I think from when I was like, my mom actually brought me to like Phantom of the Opera when I was, I think, 16 or something.
Yeah.
And then I loved Phantom of the Opera. And then eventually I started getting to like, when I saw Rent, that like kind of changed my life. And that was when that was another big, huge inspiration for me for songwriting was Jonathan Larson's catalog. I saw Rent 56 times on Broadway. So that was like, I became obsessed.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Hamilton, which now I've seen a bunch, which I love, obviously. And then Dear Evan Hansen's
I still haven't seen it. I know
Hamilton?
I need it. I still haven't seen it.
Good.
I know. You're busy when these
so
major
good.
musicals, but just it's so interesting to find out that something out I didn't know about you. I didn't know that you'd be into Broadway, but it completely fits now.
I've seen The Greatest Showman. I know it's not on Broadway, but it'll hopefully eventually go to Broadway, probably over 100 times.
Have you really?
Oh yeah.
So all right, now I have to watch it.
Well, the movie and the music, like the songwriting of Pascal and Paul, is just like that. Like gets to me.
Yeah. I love that.
That makes you feel something.
So those are that's the music. I was just going to ask you what you listen to every day. So it's a myriad of
I
things.
had to stop actually listening to The Greatest Showman and Dear Evan Hansen because it makes it hard for me to sleep at night because those songs just keep playing in my head because I listen to them so
over
much.
and over.
So I have to take breaks.
That's
I put
funny.
myself on timeout. So right now I'm currently on a Dear Evan Hansen timeout.
I love that. And
Because Ben, do you know Ben Platt?
yes.
That dude's voice.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Incredible singers.
That's one of the best singers I've heard of our past decade.
Well, everybody has a different vocal. And one of my artists said, nobody can be you. You don't have to feel like you're the
100%.
best singer in the world, but you have your own instrument. Nobody's
100%.
you.
That's the truth.
We listen to it, that's Ryan Cabrera. You listen to Avril, that's Avril. I mean, just such a unique, cool tone. You listen to John Mayer, we know that's John.
Oh yeah, that's what I've always wanted. Like when I started playing music, I'm like, I want to be able to sing a song on the radio and someone just be able to go like, never heard it and say that's Ryan Cabrera, which I think would be cool. And I don't know if that happens, but I've heard from people that it happens because they're like, you have a weird voice. I'm like, not that weird, but they'll be like, I knew that was you the second I heard it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool because I'm not the best singer in the world. I'm not like trained in any way, shape, or form, and I know that, but I know my strengths. Mm-hmm. And I know, how to use it to where when I play a show, people walk away and are like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. And it's not going to be like some crazy, like a Beyonce kind of, singing show like that, but it's going to be a damn good show.
It doesn't need to be. It needs to be
your show,
your
you're
show.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny.
No one else can do what you do.
Nobody else can do what you do. And it's funny to listen to you talk about the beginnings of music for you and being very sort of like all those artists that are Elvis and 50s influence, because I saw that in your live show the first time I came and saw you at the Whiskey. And it was very entertaining.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was very, very entertaining. And I remember seeing sort of like a contemporary, sort of vibe, but you had that sort of, there's something very old school about the music and fusing those two together, I thought was really, really cool.
I always thought like making live shows, every show unique, really important.
Yeah.
Which, it's hard to do because when you're playing, let's say you're doing a tour of like 185 shows, like how do you make that one show specific to that crowd? So I've always kind of had a very impromptu kind of show. Like we've had our set list and I've been playing for 17 years now. I don't know if I've ever stuck to the set list once in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember a show where actually, and you can ask my tour managers that, they're like, why do you even write set lists? And so at this point, I don't really.
Right.
But I'm like, well, it's a guideline. It's a map. Here's what I tend to do. And then whatever happens from there.
You have to go off the vibe of your, and
happens.
It changes every night.
Yep.
And every crowd is different, right? So I don't think you can really plan those things.
Yeah.
So I love that you have the courage enough to just say, hey, we're going to not do this song right now. We're going to do this song.
But yeah, you got to feel it out.
Yeah, you're just kind of walk to the beat of your own drum.
You got to play the audience.
Yeah. How has social media affected or changed the interaction with your fans?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a great tool to use.
Right.
I mean, I think at first, all of us, artists who kind of started without it, were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What is it? Like, this is weird. I have to do this when I should be focusing on, my job is to make the best records possible and, write the best songs so that way, it makes people feel something and makes them happy in their life. And then it's like, wait, now we have to try to keep up with the people who are going to do it from the second they wake up to the second they go to bed. It's kind of hard and impossible, which I've tried to not do, to make that become a career for me, just me personally. But at the same time, like you said, it is a tool that fans can get, feel more of a part of your career. So
and what you're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, which is, part cool, part creepy, but part cool. It's like I never wanted to get too involved with like, here's what you need to know what I'm doing at all times. But I think like a day in the life of is kind of cool if it's if it's real.
So you don't seem to have any social media pros and cons. You just kind of like roll with the seat of your pants.
I think it's cool that if I'm going to be tonight, I want to do an impromptu show at the Hotel Cafe, I can just post it and people know about it. Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool. And getting people aware of what, you have coming up, what you're working on.
It doesn't rule you. It's just a fun tool.
Yeah, it is fun. But I think, it's been a weird love-hate relationship.
I just said that to somebody today. I said, we talked about a little bit about Instagram, because they're a group, but they're much younger. They're still, teenager, young adults. And I said, how has this shaped your life since it's been in your life for a long time versus somebody that hasn't? Because
obviously it's so different.
I didn't have a phone till I was 28, so it was a very different growing up in that. I got to say, I'm personally glad that I didn't. Because of the hate part, you know what I mean? And just being so wide open. But it's such a marketing tool. I think, as we've talked about, if we can find the balance and you can put it down, and like be with people,
right?
I think that's still important. And I always tell my clients that too. It's like, you have to have that connection with people. Don't forget why you're an artist,
right?
Don't be, I want to get here. Be in your moment, be in your process, and connect with people, because I think we're losing a little bit of that.
That's what, when you watch that, it hurts to see other people do that. I think if you find a balance, then it's great.
Yeah, and finding the balance is.
But I have friends who are like, literally every moment is a thing like this, and it's like, what do we do? I'm like, dude, do you ever just do it? Do you ever just be there?
Yeah.
But it is fun, every once in a while, like show people what you're doing. It makes them happy, and it's like, oh my God, But then there's people who are just on it every day, talking about everything. I'm like, I don't want to be on my phone every day, all day.
And you can't, and it is very generational, I think, but it is person to person, because it's not just like the 20s and then in the 30s, or people doing it in the 40s. I had a friend and a client was going through some stuff and having some anxiety, and they were always posting and into, extreme sports and doing all these things. And I said to this particular person, I said, what would happen if you just went out and did a skydive or a jump or something and didn't even bring your phone, didn't post anything? And he looked like he was going to have a panic attack, and he's in his 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In his early 30s. And I thought, whoa, all right, this is how
there
we're
becomes
identifying.
a moment when you start to realize, like, why are you doing the things you do? Am I doing it so that way all these people validate me?
Right.
Or are you doing it, just to show them because you want, that'd be,
right.
I don't know. There's like a weird thing. Like, I never wanted it to be like, okay, do you like what I'm doing? Like, because then I'm just worried about what everyone else thinks instead of doing what's, true to you. If they like it, great. But then there's like, I don't want to become the person that's like, if they don't like it, why don't they like it? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I don't want to change how I am based on what everyone else either likes or doesn't like on my pages or whatnot.
So with that being said, what advice would you give younger artists coming into this business?
Yeah, so find a balance. I think just like anything in your life, I think if you have a balance of it, whether it could be, social media, whether it be, anything in your life, drinking or party, but as long as you find a balance of the two, then I think you should be happy.
Yeah, I love that. And so goals for 2019. What are you doing? What's going on with you, Ryan?
Oh my gosh. The goals this year. So I have a lot of charity events that, really I think are fun and cool, and it gets a lot of artists involved, and we raise a lot of money for good.
I love that.
For good
philanthropy. Let's do it.
We do a lot of that. That's, a lot of the year is planning those things.
Yeah.
And then I have my cruise coming up next week, the Ryan Cabrera and Friends Cruise. So that's going to be a weekend. We have, a bunch of different performers on that.
Right.
And then that's going to lead into me making, a Ryan Cabrera and Friends record, which will be, my, still
exciting.
be my songs, my style, but featuring, a bunch of different artists that, I'm very fortunate to be friends with, that I'm a huge fan of, that I get to, be like, yo, let's do a song together. And it's like, why haven't we done this? Because we always say that, like, me and all my friends who like just jam in my living room. It's like, why haven't we done a song together? And we're like, why haven't we done a song together?
Right.
So I was like, what if I do an album that's just all like that? It's like me featuring this person from this genre that people will be like, wait, what? Which I think is kind of cool, because I have such an eclectic group of friends where you're like, wait, you're friends with that person? That doesn't make sense. And people at home who are fans will be like, you hang out with, even let's say they're fans, like, you hang out with Ryan Cabrera? That's weird. Why? And then it's like, well, because we love music. We have a lot in common. Like, we're actually friends. Like,
common ground.
What's different than what you guys see is that, there's a lot of us who actually try to like help each other and build each other up, and we support each other.
That.
So I thought it'd be cool to do an album kind of based on that.
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot of the year working on that, and then traveling, doing shows. I saw that tour, me in O-Town and Tyler Hilton and Lance Bass from NSYNC. We do like this Pop 2K tour, which is really fun, and that's going really, really well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, if there's anybody that you think, now that you're talked about Ryan Cabrera and Friends, if there's anybody that you think in 2019 that should have a bigger voice, that maybe you think is underplayed, undervalued, somebody that you think is really cool, that should be maybe out in the music industry more, or people should watch for.
I mean, there's a lot. Most of them were at my living room show. There's so many, so many talented people that I'm like, dude, how are you not huge? Well, you know what? Like, so I was friends with this band called Bad Flower, who, 6 or 7 years ago, I'm like, how are you guys not like huge? And then all of a sudden, now I just looked in iTunes the other day, and I see they're like number 30 record, and I'm like, wait, whoa. I was like, hell yeah. Like, finally, they're getting some recognition. This is a rock band, but we've been friends for a long time. So finally, they're getting some love, and I think it's just going to keep going up and up and up. So Bad Flower, I think be on the lookout for them. They're going to be big.
Okay.
Who else? I mean, that's coming out that's new. Who has a new record? God, there's so many, but I mean, Charles, I don't think he has a record, but Charles Jones, Zane's, like that dude.
Yeah.
Is out of control.
Yeah, there's so much untapped talent out there too, and
Crazy.
It's just, there's no formula to it.
That's why I like doing the charity living room shows, because all these people who are watching, let's say you're watching for Billie Ray Cyrus or for Drake Bell or Avril, whoever you're watching for, and then their comments are all like, oh my God, who was Lady Killer, who was blah, blah, blah. And so they're finding new artists like through those live living room shows, which I think is cool.
Did that something start with you? Or
I started that like...
Is that the one that I saw that was posted? Avril did one, and where Macy Gray was there.
Macy wasn't. No, Macy. She did. I think maybe. Do you know Austin Brown?
Yes.
She may have done Austin's. I started this like, what was that? Probably 8-9 years ago or something, and it came about because like I have this piano, and I always like laugh because I'm like, if the people at home could see who's played this piano, or like what goes on around this piano, because I have people over at my house all the time, like to whatever hours of the night, and we literally just jam and sing and so
you just turned it into a thing.
So I was like, I really think it'd be cool if people actually got to see this at some point.
Yeah.
But what can we do to make it like not cheesy? Like, let's make it a charity thing. So you don't have to pay to watch, but if you want to donate for, to get to see what goes on in this house of all these amazing artists that you normally would never get to see, and you're getting to see people who may normally not sing with each other. And,
right.
I've had so
it's
many
like
people
behind
do
the
it.
curtain. We're
behind
opening
the
up.
curtain,
It's like
in the living room, like what
the
really
great land
would go
of Oz
on.
At Ryan Cabrera's house.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
I think that's going to be a title for your next record.
I need a title
Land
for
of
it.
Oz. Yeah.
I need a title.
Where can your audience find you?
On social media.
All right.
Ryan Cabrera.
All right.
I'm easy to find if you can spell my name.
If you can spell the name,
if
right?
you can spell Cabrera. Yeah.
Cabrera, sound it out.
Yeah.
Ryan, it's
been so cool having you on LipRoll.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. This
has
been super informative, and I've missed you, and this was my chance to get to see you and touch base.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thank you for listening, guys.
Yay.
Yay.
I think we use yay a lot.
We do.
I noticed that. We use yay.
It's just a thing.
It's a great word.
It starts everything happy and ends everything happy, right?
It does. And this was a very happy episode.
Well, you guys, please watch our video portion on YouTube and subscribe, right?
Subscribe.
On Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Yeah. And on YouTube, it's kind of cool because there's that bell thing and you can click it and then you get notified that the episode's posted. So it makes me happy because I'm like, oh, we've got a new episode of LipRoll come up.
Yes, Ella's our techie. She loves the little things, people. She loves the little things. It's all in the details.
It is. But yeah, so this episode was just amazing with Ryan. I think the thing that really just struck home to me, and a lot of your guests are saying this, but it's, find that balance.
Right.
Do the things that are true to you, and nobody else can do the things that you do.
And I love that. Yeah. And who knew he loved Broadway so much? I had no idea he loved Broadway.
Yes.
So you learn something every day, every new from every client.
Maybe when they take The Greatest Showman on Broadway, maybe he'll be in it.
Oh, he'll probably want to audition. That would be amazing.
So cool.
Okay, guys, follow us on Instagram at
LipRoll.co.
and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.